The throne room of the Valorian Empire stretched longer than most starships. Pillars of crystal rose toward a ceiling that displayed the conquered galaxy in real time. 847 star systems glowed in imperial gold. 3,000 worlds paid tribute to the throne. For 12,000 years, the Valorian Empire had stood as the greatest civilization in known space. Grand Admiral Tholvan walked across the polished floor with measured steps. His forearms carried data tablets that glowed with urgent reports. Behind him, 6 other military commanders followed in strict formation. They had requested this emergency audience with Emperor Zalthor the Magnificent. The Emperor would not be pleased. The Emperor sat upon a throne carved from a single piece of neutron star material. It was impossible to create, impossible to move, and worth more than most planets. That was the point. Emperor Zalthor was old by Valorian standards, nearly 400 years, but he held himself with the strength of youth. His scales gleamed silver and gold. His eyes, all 6 of them, focused on the approaching officers. "My Emperor," Tholvan said, dropping to one knee. The others followed. "We bring concerning news about the humans." A ripple of amusement passed through the court. Several advisors chuckled openly. The Emperor's mouth parts curved into what might have been a smile. "The humans?" Emperor Zalthor's voice echoed through the chamber. "Those primitive creatures who discovered faster-than-light travel only 200 years ago? What could they possibly do to concern the Valorian Empire?" Tholvan stood and activated his primary data tablet. A hologram appeared in the center of the room, showing a map of the galaxy. Small blue markers indicated human territory. There were 47 of them scattered along the edge of Valorian space. "They have expanded significantly, my Emperor. In the past 50 years, they have claimed 47 star systems. 17 of these systems were previously marked for imperial expansion. They are building colonies, mining asteroids, and establishing trade routes. Their population grows rapidly." An advisor stepped forward. He was old, even by Valorian standards, and his scales had faded to dull gray. 47 systems, he said with a laugh. "The Empire controls 847. They are children playing at civilization. How many ships do they have?" Another advisor asked. Tholvan checked his tablet. "Our intelligence suggests approximately 300 vessels of military grade. Most are small. Their largest ships are perhaps half the size of our destroyers." The throne room erupted in laughter. 300 ships. The Valorian Empire maintained a standing fleet of more than 50,000 warships. The Empire's smallest regional defense force numbered in the thousands. "Perhaps we should send them a gift," one advisor suggested mockingly. "Some toys more appropriate for children." Emperor Zalthor raised one hand and silence fell instantly. 300 ships, he said slowly. "And they dare to expand into space we have marked for ourselves. How very ambitious." "My Emperor," Tholvan continued carefully, "there is another matter. The humans have refused 3 separate diplomatic requests to discuss territorial boundaries. They claim the space they occupy was uninhabited and therefore free for colonization under galactic law." "Galactic law?" The Emperor's voice dropped dangerously low. "We are the law. The Valorian Empire does not negotiate with species who have barely left their homeworld. We dictate terms." "Of course, my Emperor," Tholvan agreed quickly. "However, the humans seem unaware of this fact. Their responses to our diplomatic missions have been polite but firm. They suggest that if we wish to claim those systems, we should have colonized them ourselves." The laughter that followed was darker now. Several military officers present looked genuinely offended. The Empire did not receive suggestions from lesser species. A door at the side of the throne room opened. An ancient Valorian shuffled in, moving slowly despite the assistance of a hover platform. This was Keeper Salmuth, guardian of the Imperial Archives. He was over 600 years old and his scales had turned nearly white with age. He rarely left the archives and his presence here was unusual. "My Emperor," Salmuth's voice was thin and reedy. "I beg permission to speak." Emperor Zalthor looked surprised but nodded. "Keeper, this is unexpected. What brings you from your dusty records?" "I have been listening to this discussion, my Emperor. And I must warn you, there are records, old records, about the humans." The throne room fell silent. Every eye turned to the ancient keeper. "Records?" Tholvan asked. "What kind of records?" Salmuth's hover platform moved him closer to the holographic display. He studied the blue markers indicating human space with eyes that had seen centuries pass. 11,000 years ago, he began. A Valorian scout ship explored the outer regions of the galaxy. They were charting worlds for potential colonization. They found a planet, a world the humans call Earth. The scouts observed this planet for 37 years. They never made contact. They watched, and they recorded everything they saw. And, Emperor Zalthor prompted, what did they see? They saw a Class 12 death world, my Emperor. The highest lethality rating in our classification system. A planet where 96% of native species produce toxins, venom, or are predatory in nature. A world of constant danger, where survival requires adaptability and aggression beyond what most species can comprehend. Several advisors shifted uncomfortably. Class 12 death worlds were rare. Most species evolved on safer worlds where cooperation and intelligence mattered more than fighting ability. They saw the humans, Salmeth continued, a species that survived by becoming the apex predator of their entire planet. The scouts watched humans hunt animals larger and stronger than themselves. They watched humans chase prey animals for days until the prey collapsed from exhaustion. They watched humans domesticate wolves, making predators into companions. They watched humans survive injuries that would kill most galactic species. Fascinating anthropology, an advisor said dismissively, but irrelevant. That was their primitive past. They are civilized now. Salmeth turned his ancient gaze toward the advisor. Are they? The scouts watched humans make war on each other. They watched for 37 years, and in that time, humans were never at peace. Somewhere on their planet, humans were always fighting other humans. They developed weapons of astonishing cruelty. They invented concepts like total war, scorched earth, and mutually assured destruction. They created bombs that could destroy entire cities, and they used them. The throne room was very quiet now. The final report from that scout ship, Salmeth said slowly, contained a single recommendation. They advised that the Valorian Empire should avoid human space entirely. They wrote that humans do not accept defeat. They weaponize everything. They bond through combat. They find death entertaining. Their entire cultural development is warfare refined into art. The report concluded with a warning in capital letters. Never provoke this species. Superstitious nonsense, an advisor declared. Written by scouts who spent too long in space and went mad. Keeper, you cannot expect us to take seriously the ravings of ancient explorers. The report was filed properly and forgotten, Salmeth admitted. Perhaps it should have been, but I have read it, and I have cross-referenced it with everything we know about humans today. They still celebrate their warriors. Their entertainment is filled with violence. Their children play games of combat. They honor those who die in battle. In 200 years of galactic contact, have they changed, or have they simply grown more sophisticated? Emperor Zalthor leaned forward on his throne. Keeper, I respect your knowledge and your service to the Empire, but you ask me to fear a species with 300 ships because of a report written 11,000 years ago by scouts who may have been insane. The Valorian Empire has crushed dozens of species who thought themselves strong. We have ended civilizations that dared to challenge us. What makes humans different? I do not know, my Emperor, Salmeth said quietly. Perhaps nothing. Perhaps they will surrender like all the others. But the scouts who wrote that report were not mad. They were terrified. And Valorians do not terrify easily. Emperor Zalthor stood. The casual atmosphere of the throne room vanished instantly. When the Emperor stood, it meant a decision had been made. The humans occupy 47 systems that rightfully belong to the Valorian Empire. They have ignored our diplomatic overtures. They have suggested that we are at fault for not claiming what is ours. This insult cannot stand. Tholvan straightened. He knew what was coming. Grand Admiral Tholvan, you will take the Third Armada into human space. You will present the humans with an ultimatum. They will surrender 40 of their 47 systems to Imperial control. They may keep 7 systems as a gesture of Imperial mercy. They have 10 standard days to comply. If they refuse, you will destroy their fleets and occupy their worlds by force. Yes, my Emperor. Tholvan bowed deeply. How many ships should I take? The Third Armada is 5,000 ships, more than enough to crush 300 primitive vessels. In fact, it is probably excessive. But I want this matter resolved quickly and decisively. Show the humans the true power of the Valorian Empire. Show the entire galaxy what happens to species who overstep their bounds. It will be done, my Emperor. Emperor Zalthor sat back down on his impossible throne. Keeper, your warning is noted, but the Valorian Empire does not rule through fear. We rule through strength. If these humans are truly as dangerous as your ancient report suggests, then they should have remained hidden on their death world. By entering galactic space, they have entered our domain. And in our domain, we make the rules. Salmuth bowed his head. As you say, my Emperor. I hope my concerns are foolish worries of an old keeper. I hope the humans surrender peacefully. I hope we never learn if that ancient report was true. The audience was over. Tholvan and his officers left the throne room to prepare the Third Armada. Advisors dispersed to spread the news of the impending military action. Within hours, all of Valor Prime knew that the Empire was going to war with the humans. In the Imperial Archives, Keeper Salmuth returned to his work. He pulled up the ancient report one more time, reading it on his private terminal. The words glowed in the darkness of his office. These beings do not accept defeat. They weaponize everything. If contacted, never provoke. If provoked, expect total war. They do not understand limited conflict. When humans fight, they fight with everything they have. Salmuth closed the report and looked up at the ceiling of his archive. Somewhere out there, 5,000 Valorian warships were preparing to teach the humans a lesson about power and respect. The Keeper wondered if the Empire was about to learn a lesson instead. 10 days later, the human response to the ultimatum arrived. It was brief. It was simple. It was transmitted on every frequency, broadcast to every Valorian world within range. The message contained only 3 words in the human language, followed by a translation in perfect Valorian. Come and take them. Grand Admiral Tholvan read the message aboard his flagship, the Eternal Glory. Around him, his officers muttered in disbelief. To refuse was one thing. To issue a challenge was something else entirely. They dare? One captain whispered. 300 ships against 5,000, and they dare? Tholvan looked at the message for a long time. Something about those 3 words bothered him. They were not desperate. They were not afraid. They were confident. He thought about Keeper Salmuth's warning. Then he dismissed the thought. The Empire had not conquered the galaxy by being afraid of primitive species. Set course for human space, Tholvan ordered. Maximum speed. Let us teach these humans why the Valorian Empire is feared across the stars. The Third Armada moved out, 5,000 ships strong. They jumped to faster-than-light speed, heading toward the border of human space. Behind them, on Valor Prime, Keeper Salmuth watched the Armada depart on his monitors. He whispered a prayer to ancient gods that most Valorians had forgotten. The prayer was for the souls of the 5,000 ships, not for the humans, for the Valorians. The Proxima Threshold system sat on the edge of human space. It was not an important system. 3 rocky planets, an asteroid belt, and a small human mining colony on the second planet. The colony housed 12,000 humans who extracted rare metals from the planet's crust. It had no strategic value. It was simply the first human system that the Valorian Third Armada would encounter. Grand Admiral Tholvan stood on the bridge of his flagship, watching the tactical display. His fleet had dropped out of faster-than-light speed at the system's edge. 5,000 ships spread out in perfect formation. It was a beautiful sight. A demonstration of imperial power that had made entire civilizations surrender without a single shot fired. Scan the system, Tholvan ordered. Locate all human vessels. The sensor officer worked quickly. Admiral, I am detecting 83 human ships in the system. They are positioned in orbit around the second planet. The ships are of various classes. Most are small. They are not fleeing. Tholvan's scales rippled with satisfaction. 83 ships against 5,000. The battle would be over in minutes. Perhaps the humans would see reason once they witnessed the full might of the Third Armada. Open a communication channel to the human commander. The view screen flickered to life. A human appeared. She was tall by human standards, with skin the color of dark earth and eyes that seemed to take in everything at once. She wore a military uniform marked with symbols that indicated high rank. Her expression was calm. I am Grand Admiral Tholvan of the Valorian Third Armada. To whom am I speaking? Rear Admiral Jessica Chen, Earth Defense Fleet, Proxima Defense Group. Her voice was steady. Welcome to human space, Admiral Thulvan. Admiral Chen, you're in command of the defense forces here? I am. Thulvan gestured to his tactical display. You have 83 ships. I have 5,000. You must see that resistance is futile. I offer you one chance to surrender. Power down your weapons and you will be treated with respect according to the laws of war. Refuse and I will be forced to destroy your fleet. Admiral Chen smiled. It was not a friendly smile. Admiral Thulvan, I appreciate the offer, but I must respectfully decline. This is human territory. You are not welcome here. I suggest you return to Valorian space while you still can. Several officers on Thulvan's bridge made sounds of disbelief. The human was giving them a warning. The absurdity was almost amusing. Admiral Chen, please be reasonable. Your ships are outnumbered 60-1. Many of your personnel are civilians pressed into military service. I do not wish to kill them unnecessarily. How kind of you, Chen replied. Her smile grew wider. Admiral, let me explain something about humans. We don't do reasonable very well. And my people are not civilians pressed into service. They are volunteers. Every single one of them chose to be here. They know the odds. They know what is coming, and they are ready. Ready for what? To die uselessly? Ready to show you why attacking Earth was a mistake. Chen leaned forward slightly. Admiral, you have 10 minutes to leave this system. After that, we will consider your presence an act of war. Choose wisely. The transmission cut off before Thulvan could respond. The bridge was silent for a moment. Then one of the junior officers spoke up. Admiral, did she just threaten us? With 83 ships? Thulvan was not amused anymore. The human's confidence was either courage or insanity. Either way, it needed to be crushed. Battle formation, he ordered. Prepare to engage. Target their capital ships first. Minimum necessary force. I want prisoners if possible. The Valorian fleet moved forward with practiced precision. 5,000 ships advancing like a wall of metal and firepower. It was the kind of display that ended wars before they started. On the tactical display, the human ships remained motionless. They sat in orbit around the second planet waiting. Not fleeing. Not maneuvering, just waiting. Why are they not moving? An officer asked quietly. Fear, another replied. They are frozen with fear, but Thulvan was not so sure.
He thought about Admiral Chen's smile.
That was not the face of someone who was afraid. The fleets closed to weapons range. The Valorian ships opened fire first, as was Imperial doctrine. Bright beams of energy lanced across the void. Missiles streaked toward human positions. The attack was carefully calculated to disable, not destroy. The human ships exploded into motion. They did not retreat. They did not adopt defensive formations. They accelerated directly toward the Valorian fleet at maximum speed. What are they doing? An officer shouted. They are charging us! The human ships ignored all tactical doctrine. They split into small groups and dove into the Valorian formation like knives. Their weapons blazed. Energy beams tore into Valorian shields. Missiles exploded against Valorian hulls. The humans fired everything they had all at once with no regard for ammunition conservation or energy management. Return fire. All ships return fire. The space between the fleets became a storm of light and destruction. But the humans were doing something wrong. They were fighting at close range, so close that some human ships scraped against Valorian hulls. This was insane. Modern space combat happened at distances measured in thousands of kilometers. Ships used long-range weapons and precision targeting. The humans were fighting like they were in a bar brawl. A human destroyer, its entire port side torn open and venting atmosphere, rammed directly into a Valorian cruiser. Both ships exploded in a ball of nuclear fire. Did that human ship just ram us? An officer stammered. On purpose? Another human vessel, completely disabled with no power and no weapons, fired its escape pods. But these were not normal escape procedures. The pods were aimed. They streaked toward Valorian ships like missiles. Some carried explosives. When they impacted, they detonated. They are using their own escape pods as weapons. The sensor officer reported in disbelief. A human captain broadcast on all frequencies as his ship died around him. His voice was laughing. Actually laughing. Forward unto dawn, boys. Let's show these bastards how Terra does war. The laughter was infectious. Other human voices joined in. They were cheering. They were enjoying this. Thulvan watched his tactical display with growing horror. Yes, the humans were losing. 60 human ships were already destroyed or disabled, but they had taken 400 Valorian vessels with them. 400. The exchange ratio was impossible. It violated every principle of military science, and the humans kept coming. A human frigate, its weapons destroyed, used its remaining engine power to position itself in front of 3 Valorian destroyers. Then it detonated its reactor core. The explosion consumed all 4 ships. Suicide attacks, Tholvan whispered. They are using suicide attacks. Another human ship broadcast a message. The captain's voice was calm despite the sounds of explosions in the background. This is Captain Rodriguez of the Indomitable. We've lost engines and weapons. We're going to use the ship as a kinetic weapon. It has been an honor serving with you all. See you in Valhalla. The Indomitable, drifting and dead, used its last maneuvering thrusters to aim itself at a cluster of Valorian ships. It crashed into them at thousands of kilometers per hour, metal and bodies scattered across space. What is Valhalla? An officer asked weakly. I do not know, Tholvan replied. But I think it is where dead human warriors go. The battle lasted 3 hours. When it ended, 80 human ships were destroyed. Only 3 managed to retreat, and those were so damaged they would never fight again. But the Valorian Third Armada had lost 412 ships. Tholvan looked at the numbers and could not believe them. He had brought 5,000 ships to crush 83. He had won, but it felt like losing. Get me casualty reports, he ordered quietly, and prepare a message to the Emperor. As his crew worked, Tholvan reviewed the battle recordings. He watched human ships fighting long after they should have surrendered. He watched crews stay at their posts even as their ships broke apart around them. He watched humans laugh and cheer as they died. One recording caught his attention. It was from a damaged human destroyer. The ship had lost all weapons and most of its hull. Air was venting from a dozen breaches. The bridge was on fire. The captain, a young human male, was covered in blood. Half his crew was dead, but he was still giving orders. Navigation, one last push. Point us at that cruiser. Engineering. Give me everything left in the reactor. Communications, play the song. Which song, Captain? You know which one. The one about the highway. Music started playing over the ship's communication system. It was human music, loud and aggressive with a driving beat and screaming electric instruments. The crew started singing along even as their ship fell apart. The destroyer rammed the Valorian cruiser at ramming speed. Both ships were destroyed instantly. Tholvan turned off the recording. He had won the battle, but he had lost 400 ships to 80 humans, and the humans had died singing. Admiral, his communication officer called. I have intercepted several human transmissions from the battle. They were sent to other human fleets on narrow-beam channels. We were not supposed to hear them, but our sensors caught the overflow. What do they say? They are battle reports, sir, describing what happened here. But there is one message that was sent multiple times to human command. It is only one sentence. Show me. The words appeared on a screen. They were in the human language, followed by a translation. They wanted a war. Now they have one. Another officer spoke up, his voice shaking slightly. Admiral, we are receiving reports from the mining colony on the second planet. The human colonists are evacuating, but they are leaving behind a message. They have written it on the ground in letters large enough to see from orbit. What does it say? Come and take it. Tholvan remembered those words. They were the same words the humans had sent in response to the Emperor's ultimatum. Come and take it. Not a plea, not a surrender. A challenge. How many more human systems are there? Tholvan asked quietly. 46, sir. We destroyed their presence in this one. And how many ships do the humans have total? The intelligence officer checked his data. Our last estimate was 300 ships, sir. We destroyed 83 here. That leaves approximately 200 remaining. Tholvan did the mathematics in his head. If every battle went like this one, if the humans maintained this exchange ratio, the Third Armada would win, but at catastrophic cost. Sir, his second-in-command asked, should we proceed to the next system? Tholvan looked at the debris field that surrounded them. Thousands of bodies floated in the void, human and Valorian mixed together in death. The humans had lost more, but they had made the Empire bleed. Send a message to the Emperor, Tholvan said. Tell him we have achieved victory at Proxima Threshold. Tell him the humans fought with unexpected ferocity. Tell him, he paused, tell him that I request reinforcements. Another 10,000 ships minimum. 10,000, sir? For 200 human vessels? Did you not see what happened here? Tolovan's voice rose. Did you not watch those humans ram our ships, use their escape pods as weapons, detonate their own reactors as bombs? They lost this battle and still managed to destroy 400 of our ships. 400! If the remaining human forces fight like this, we will need every ship we can get. The bridge crew fell silent. They had won, but it did not feel like victory. There is something else, Admiral, the communication officer said hesitantly. We intercepted another human transmission. It was very short. It was sent to someone called Keeper Salmuth at the Valorian Imperial Archives. What? Tholvan felt his blood go cold. A human was communicating with someone in our archives. What did they say? The message was only 2 words, sir. It said, "You tried." Tholvan stood very still. Keeper Salmuth, the ancient keeper who had warned the Emperor about the humans, the one who had spoken of old records and dire warnings. The humans knew about him. They had sent him a message. You tried. Tried what? Tried to warn us? Tried to stop this war? Sir, should we respond to this message? No, Tholvan said quietly. No response. Continue with the mission. Move to the next system. But as the Third Armada prepared to jump to the next human world, Grand Admiral Tholvan sat alone in his quarters. He accessed the Imperial database and searched for information about death worlds. He read about Class 12 planets. He read about species that evolved through constant conflict. And for the first time since he had entered military service 400 years ago, Grand Admiral Tholvan felt something he had never experienced in battle. Fear, not fear that he would lose. The Empire had too many ships, too much power. The humans would be defeated eventually. The numbers guaranteed it. But fear of the cost, fear of what the humans would do before they fell, fear that the ancient report in the archives was not exaggeration but understatement. Outside his window, the stars shone cold and distant. Somewhere out there, 200 human ships waited, and now they knew that the Valorian Empire was coming. Tholvan wondered if Admiral Chen was still smiling. He suspected she was. Grand Admiral Tholvan could not sleep. 3 days had passed since the battle at Proxima Threshold. His fleet was moving toward the next human system. They would arrive in 2 more days. 2 days to prepare. 2 days to figure out how to fight an enemy that did not fear death. The doors to his quarters opened without warning. Tholvan reached for his sidearm, then stopped. The figure in the doorway was hunched with age, supported by a hover platform. Keeper Salmuth had come a very long way from the Imperial Archives. Keeper, Tholvan lowered his weapon. How did you get aboard my ship? I still have some authority left to these old bones, Salmuth replied, his voice thin. And I used a favor from someone in the Emperor's court. I needed to speak with you, away from the Emperor's ears. Tholvan gestured to a chair. The old keeper settled into it slowly, joints creaking. Why are you here, Keeper? Did the Emperor send you? The Emperor does not know I left. If he did, he would probably have me arrested for desertion of duty. Salmuth pulled out a data crystal, old and worn. I brought you something, Admiral. The full Death World Chronicles. Everything the Scouts recorded about Earth 11,000 years ago. You need to read it. All of it. I have read the summary. Humans are aggressive, violent, and dangerous. I learned that at Proxima Threshold. You learned nothing, Salmuth said harshly. You won a battle and lost 400 ships doing it. You think you understand humans now, Admiral? You have seen one shadow of what they are. Let me show you the full picture. Salmuth activated the data crystal. A hologram appeared in the center of Tholvan's quarters. It showed a planet, blue and green and white, beautiful from orbit. Earth. This is where it begins, Salmuth said. A Class 12 death world. Do you understand what that means? A planet where life is difficult. Difficult? Salmuth laughed bitterly. Admiral, on most worlds where civilizations develop, the greatest threats are weather and occasional predators. Beings evolve intelligence to solve problems and cooperate. But on Earth, nearly everything is trying to kill you. The Scouts cataloged thousands of species. 96% of them produce toxins, have venom, or hunt other creatures for food. Spiders with poison that dissolves flesh. Snakes that can kill with one bite. Plants that cause agony if touched. Fish that can deliver electric shocks. Insects that swarm and devour. The oceans contain predators larger than our ships. The hologram changed, showing various Earth creatures. Each one looked more terrifying than the last. Tholvan's scales rippled with instinctive fear. And in this nightmare world, Salmuth continued, humans became the dominant species. Not by being stronger, not by being faster, by being smarter and more relentless than everything else. They hunted creatures 10 times their size. They chased prey until the prey died of exhaustion. Do you know what persistence hunting is, Admiral? No. Humans can run for hours, days even. Most prey animals sprint quickly but tire fast. Humans follow them, always following, never stopping. The prey runs, rests, runs again, but the human keeps coming. Eventually, the prey cannot run anymore. It collapses, and the human, still full of energy, kills it easily. Humans won their world by being the monster that never stops chasing you. Thulvan watched the hologram shift to show ancient humans hunting. They looked weak, small, but they moved with purpose, tracking animals across vast distances, never giving up. They domesticated wolves, Salmeth said. Think about that. Wolves are pack hunters, efficient killers. Humans saw them and thought, these would make good companions. They bonded with predators because they recognized kindred spirits. Today, humans keep these wolves as pets. They call them dogs. They let them sleep in their homes. They love them like family. The hologram showed humans with dogs. The relationship looked genuine, affectionate. Two predator species that had learned to hunt together. But here's what the scouts found most disturbing. Salmeth's voice dropped lower. Humans make war on each other. The scouts observed Earth for 37 years. In that time, there was not a single day of global peace. Somewhere on that planet, humans were always fighting other humans. And the ways they fought, the hologram changed again. It showed human warfare through the ages. Crude weapons at first, swords and spears, then projectile weapons, guns, artillery, tanks, aircraft. And finally, the image that made Thulvan flinch, a mushroom cloud rising over a city. They split the atom, Salmeth said quietly, and the first thing they did was turn it into a weapon so terrible it could destroy entire cities in an instant. And they used it twice on themselves. They bombed their own species. They were at war. Humans do not do war halfway, Admiral. When humans fight, they commit everything. Total va. They invented that concept. The idea that entire civilizations become weapons. Every factory, every farm, every citizen, all directed toward destroying the enemy. The hologram showed more. Chemical weapons, biological warfare, tactics designed to maximize suffering. And through it all, humans kept fighting. The scouts tried to understand human psychology, Salmeth continued. They intercepted communications, studied human culture. Do you know what they found? Humans celebrate warriors. Their greatest heroes are those who fought and died in battle. They write songs about war. They make entertainment about conflict. Human children play games where they pretend to fight and kill. It is in their nature. But they are civilized now, Thulvan protested. They have faster than light travel. They build colonies. They trade with other species. Are they civilized? Or have they simply found new frontiers? Salmeth pulled up another file. After they achieved space travel, how long did it take humans to establish a military fleet? 3 years. 3 years from their first moon landing to their first warship. Most species take centuries to militarize space. Humans did it before they even left their solar system. Thulvan was silent. He thought about Admiral Chen's smile. About human crews singing as they died, about escape pods used as weapons. The report has a section on human resilience, Salmeth said. The scouts documented cases of humans surviving injuries that should be fatal. Broken bones, blood loss, organ damage. Humans keep functioning through pain that would incapacitate most species. They have something they call adrenaline, a chemical their bodies produce during danger. It lets them ignore injury and fight beyond their normal limits. That is a survival mechanism. Many species have similar adaptations. Not like this. Salmeth showed another recording. A human with terrible injuries, still fighting, still moving. Humans have been documented fighting for minutes after receiving wounds that should cause instant unconsciousness. They have a saying, humans are too stupid to know when they are dead. It is said as a joke. But it is true. The hologram changed to show human settlements, cities, farms, peaceful scenes. But Salmeth's next words made them seem sinister. Here is what truly frightened the scouts. Humans are not violent because they are primitive. They are violent because it works. Every major advancement in human technology came from war. Better metals for weapons, chemistry for explosives, nuclear power from bomb research, rockets from missiles, computers from code breaking. The internet for military communications. Humans advance fastest when they are trying to kill each other more efficiently. So what are you saying, Keeper? That we should surrender? The Valorian Empire bows to no one. I am saying you should understand what you are fighting. Salmeth's eyes bored into Tholvan's. The scouts' final report contained a detailed analysis. They concluded that humans are the most dangerous species they had ever encountered. Not the strongest. Not the fastest. Not the smartest in any one area. But dangerous in a way that transcends simple measurements. Explain. Most species, when faced with impossible odds, surrender. Self-preservation is logical, but humans do not process survival the same way. They have a concept called dying with honor. They would rather die fighting than live in surrender. The scouts documented this throughout human history. Last stands, suicide charges, battles where humans fought to the last individual. These are not rare aberrations. They are celebrated moments in human culture. Tholvan thought about Proxima Threshold again. 83 ships against 5,000. And the humans had charged. There is one recording, Salmeth said, that the scouts marked as the most important. They were observing a human military training exercise. Young humans, barely adults, being prepared for war. The instructor asked them a question. What do you do when victory is impossible? And do you know what the humans answered? Surrender? Make them pay for it. Salmeth let the words hang in the air. That is the human response to impossible odds. Not surrender. Not retreat. Make them pay. Humans see inevitable defeat and decide to inflict maximum damage before they fall. It is not logical. It is not rational. It is fundamentally human. The hologram switched to text. The final section of the scout report. Tholvan read it slowly. Species designation, human. Origin, Earth, Class 12 Death World. Intelligence level, high. Technology level, primitive but advancing rapidly. Threat assessment, extreme. Recommendations, avoid all contact. If contact unavoidable, maintain diplomatic relations only. Never engage militarily. Humans do not surrender. Humans do not retreat. Humans do not accept defeat. They will sacrifice everything to win. If losing, they will sacrifice everything to hurt you. There is no scenario where military conflict with humans ends favorably. They will make you regret starting the war even if they lose it. Below that, in capital letters, one final line. Never provoke this species. Tholvan looked up at Salmeth. The Emperor will never agree to withdraw. Too many ships lost already. He will see it as weakness. I know, Salmeth said sadly. That is why I came to you. Because you are the one leading this war. You will see what happens next. You will watch good Valorian soldiers die against an enemy that does not know how to quit. And when it is over, whether we win or lose, you will understand why the scouts begged us to avoid the humans. We will win. We have the numbers. Yes, you probably will. Salmeth stood slowly, his hover platform supporting him. But Admiral, winning against humans is not about who survives. It is about what you become in the process. The scouts watched humans make war for 37 years. They saw what war does to humans. It does not break them. It changes them, makes them harder, more focused, more creative in their cruelty. Every battle you win will teach them. Every ship you destroy will make them angrier, and angry humans are more dangerous than scared humans. The old keeper moved toward the door. He paused at the threshold and looked back. The scouts left one final note in their report. Unverified, unprovable, but they all agreed on it. They wrote, "We believe that if humans ever faced an extinction-level threat, they would not die quietly. They would find a way to take their killers with them, even if it meant destroying their own world to do it. Humans would rather rule over ashes than surrender and live." Salmeth left. The door closed behind him. Tholvan stood alone in his quarters looking at the data crystal. Everything the Empire needed to know about humans was recorded there. And the Empire had ignored it. His communication panel chimed. "Admiral, we have received new orders from Valor Prime. The Emperor is sending reinforcements. The 7th, 9th, and 12th Armadas are en route. 15,000 additional ships." "Acknowledged," Tholvan replied mechanically. 20,000 Valorian ships total, against 200 human vessels. It should be enough. It would be enough. But as Tholvan prepared for the next battle, he could not shake the image from the hologram. The mushroom cloud, Humans had built a weapon that could destroy cities, and they had used it on themselves. What would they build to use against the Valorian Empire? And would 20,000 ships be enough to survive it? Across the void of space on a hidden human shipyard, Admiral Chen stood in front of a new vessel. It was ugly, utilitarian, built for one purpose only. The engineers had finished the prototype in record time. The design was simple: a ship filled with nuclear weapons, hundreds of them, aimed by an artificial intelligence that could not be negotiated with or hacked. Once launched, it could not be recalled. The humans had a name for this type of weapon. They had used similar concepts in wars against each other centuries ago. They called it a doomsday device. Admiral Chen looked at the ship and thought about the Valorian armadas coming to destroy everything humans had built in space. She thought about the colonists evacuating their worlds. She thought about young men and women volunteering for suicide missions. And she smiled. "Start mass production," she ordered. "I want 1,000 of these ready in 30 days. "Admiral," an engineer asked nervously, "what should we call this class of ship?" Chen thought for a moment. Then she remembered something from human history, a response given by defiant warriors facing impossible odds. "Call them the Spartans," she said, "and let's see if the Valorians remember why myths are feared." The war had been raging for 3 months. 20 star systems burned with conflict. Grand Admiral Tholvan had stopped counting the ships he had lost. The numbers were too depressing. The Valorian Empire had sent 20,000 vessels to crush the human fleet. Now barely 12,000 remained operational. The humans had lost more ships. Much more. But it did not seem to matter. Tholvan stood in the command center of a captured human space station, looking at tactical displays. His officers worked quietly around him, exhaustion evident in every movement. They had won this system after 2 weeks of brutal fighting. The human defenders had fought for every planet, every moon, every asteroid. When the last human ship was destroyed, the colonists on the ground had activated nuclear devices buried under their cities. They had destroyed their own settlements rather than let them fall into Valorian hands. "Admiral," his intelligence officer approached cautiously, "we have finished analyzing the wreckage from the latest battle. There is something you need to see." Tholvan followed him to a holographic display. It showed the remains of a human weapon. Something new. Something terrible. What am I looking at? The humans call it a relativistic kill missile. It is simple, crude, just a large mass accelerated to a significant fraction of light speed. No warhead needed. The kinetic energy is enough to destroy anything it hits. We have kinetic weapons, not like this, sir. This missile was traveling at 30% light speed when it struck our dreadnought. The impact released energy equivalent to multiple nuclear weapons. The dreadnought was destroyed instantly. So were 3 other ships nearby. 1 missile. 4 ships. Tholvan felt sick. How many of these do the humans have? Unknown. But we have detected 17 launch sites in human territory. And sir, there is something else. Something worse. The display changed to show another weapon. This one made Tholvan's blood run cold. Nuclear-pumped laser, the intelligence officer explained. The humans detonate a nuclear weapon inside their own ship. In the microsecond before the ship is destroyed, the blast energy is channeled into an extremely powerful laser. It fires once. Then the ship carrying it is vaporized. A suicide weapon. They are destroying their own ships as weapons? Yes, sir. We have encountered 12 of these so far. Each one destroyed or severely damaged multiple Valorian vessels before being consumed by its own blast. The humans are willing to sacrifice 1 ship to kill 3 or 4 of ours. Tholvan turned away from the display. 3 months ago, he had thought humans were simply aggressive. Now he understood they were something worse. They were creative in their violence. Every day brought a new horror, a new way to die. What else? He asked quietly. He knew there was more. There was always more. AI-controlled drone swarms, sir. Thousands of small ships, each one guided by an artificial intelligence. They coordinate perfectly. They cannot be reasoned with or hacked. They just attack until destroyed. The humans launch them from hidden facilities and let them loose on our supply lines. Artificial intelligence? That is forbidden by galactic law. AI cannot be used as weapons. The humans do not seem to care about galactic law, sir. They are using every weapon they can imagine. Another officer approached, looking pale. "Admiral, we have analyzed the biological samples from the last planetary battle. The plague that killed 3,000 of our troops was not natural. It was engineered. designed specifically to target Valorian physiology. Biological warfare, Thulvan said numbly. They are using diseases as weapons. Yes, sir. Our medical teams believe the humans have been studying captured Valorian DNA. They are creating pathogens that only affect us. Our allies are safe. Only Valorians die. The room was silent. Every officer present understood what this meant. The humans were not fighting to win territory. They were fighting to exterminate Valorians. There is one more thing, the communication officer said hesitantly. The psychological warfare. It is affecting our crews badly. Show me. The officer activated a screen. It showed a recording from a recent battle. A human ship broadcasting on all frequencies. The video showed human history, wars, weapons, destruction, all set to aggressive human music. They broadcast these during every engagement, the officer explained, showing us what they are capable of, what they have done to each other. They want us to know what we are facing. Another video started playing. This one showed human entertainment, movies, shows about war and violence, humans pretending to kill each other for fun. One clip showed a human actor saying a line that had become infamous among Valorian crews, "Welcome to Earth." Our psychologists say this is deliberate, the officer continued. The humans are trying to terrify us, and it is working. Crew morale is at record lows. Some ships have requested to withdraw from combat. Several captains have resigned their commissions. Denied, Thulvan said automatically, but he understood why they wanted to leave. He wanted to leave too. The communication panel lit up. A priority message from Valor Prime. Thulvan opened it, dreading what he would read. Emperor Zalthor's face appeared on screen. He looked older, tired. The war was taking its toll on everyone. Admiral Thulvan, report on current situation. My Emperor, we have secured 6 human systems at great cost. We estimate 8,000 ships lost. Human casualties are higher, but their forces continue to resist with undiminished intensity. 8,000 ships, the Emperor repeated. Nearly half our committed forces, and we have taken only 6 of their 47 systems? Yes, my Emperor. The humans fight for every inch of space. They use unconventional weapons, suicide tactics, psychological warfare. They do not surrender. When we capture their territory, they destroy it themselves rather than let us have it. The Emperor was quiet for a long moment. I have received reports from our allies. They are concerned. The humans have sent messages to every species in the galaxy. They are showing what the Valorian Empire has done, showing the destroyed worlds, the casualties. They are making us look like monsters. We are fighting a war they started, my Emperor. Are we? The Emperor's voice was sharp. The humans claim we invaded their territory. They claim they were defending themselves, and much of the galaxy is starting to believe them. Thulvan felt anger rise in him. We issued an ultimatum. They refused. They challenged us. Yes, they did. And now we are learning the cost of accepting that challenge. The Emperor leaned forward. Admiral, I am sending the remaining reserves. Another 5,000 ships. This brings our total commitment to 25,000 vessels. This is the largest military operation in Imperial history. We cannot afford to lose. Understood, my Emperor. But Admiral, understand this. If we cannot defeat the humans decisively within 3 months, we will need to reconsider our strategy. The economic cost is becoming unsustainable. The political cost is growing, and the casualty numbers. The Emperor did not finish the sentence. He did not need to. Everyone knew the casualty numbers. Tens of thousands of Valorian soldiers dead for what? 6 systems that the humans had burned to ash rather than surrender intact. The transmission ended. Thulvan stood alone with his thoughts. 5,000 more ships. Maybe it would be enough. Maybe not. Admiral, a young officer approached. We have captured a human soldier. He survived his ship's destruction. He is requesting to speak with you. Why would I speak with a human prisoner? He says he has information about human strategy. He says you will want to hear it. Thulvan considered refusing, but curiosity won out. Bring him here. Under guard. 10 minutes later, the human was escorted into the command center. He was young, maybe 30 by human standards. He wore a burned uniform. One arm was bandaged, but he walked with confidence, looking around the Valorian command center with interest rather than fear. I am Grand Admiral Thulvan. You requested to speak with me? Yes, sir. The human's voice was respectful but not submissive. I am Lieutenant James Morrison, Earth Defense Fleet. I wanted to deliver a message. A message? You could have transmitted it. This message needed to be delivered in person. Morrison looked Thulvan directly in the eyes. Sir, you are losing this war. Several Valorian officers reached for their weapons. Thulvan raised a hand to stop them. We have destroyed most of your fleet. We occupy 6 of your systems. How are we losing? Because you are not fighting humans, Admiral. You are fighting the idea of humans. Every battle you win, we tell the story. Every ship you destroy, we make martyrs. Every world you take, we make people angry. You have destroyed maybe 200 of our ships. But our shipyards are building new ones faster than you can destroy them. And every human who is not sure about this war, every civilian who thought maybe we should negotiate, they have seen what you do to captured worlds. They have seen our cities burned. Now they want revenge. You are trying to demoralize me, Thulvan said. It will not work. I am trying to save lives, sir. Yours and mine. Morrison gestured to the tactical displays. You have 25,000 ships. We have maybe 100 left in active service. You should win easily, but you will not. Do you know why? Tell me. Because every human ship you destroy is a story. Every world you burn is a recruiting poster. You are creating the very thing you are trying to defeat. Before this war, most humans did not care about the Valorian Empire. Now every human child knows your name. Every human adult wants to join the fleet. You have united us in a way we have never been united before. Morrison limped closer to the tactical display.
Sir, I have studied military history.
Human history. Do you know what happens when you invade a country and kill its citizens? You do not break their will. You make them hate you. And hate is a powerful motivator. We will fight you for generations. We will never forgive. We will never forget. Even if you destroy every human ship, we will build more. Even if you occupy every human world, we will resist. You cannot win this war because you are fighting an idea, and ideas do not surrender. Then we will exterminate you, an officer said angrily. Kill every human. Problem solved. Morrison smiled sadly. You could try, but you would have to kill billions of us. Every man, woman, and child. On every world, in every station, everywhere. Because if even one human survives, they will remember. They will rebuild. And they will come for you. Maybe not this year. Maybe not this century. But eventually. Humans do not forget. Thulvan felt the truth of those words. He had read the chronicles. He knew what humans were capable of. Morrison was right. Even if the Empire won militarily, they would lose strategically. They would create an enemy that would never stop hating them. What is your message, Lieutenant Morrison? My message is simple, sir. Stop, withdraw, make peace. You can still do it. You have not killed so many that forgiveness is impossible. But every day you continue, you make it harder. Eventually, you will cross a line. You will do something so terrible that we can never forgive it. And then this war becomes eternal. The Emperor will never withdraw. Then the Emperor is leading your empire to ruin. Morrison looked at the tactical displays again. Sir, my ship was destroyed. My friends are dead. I should hate you, but I do not, because you are just following orders. Someone else started this war. Someone else decided that human lives were worth less than imperial pride. But you are the one paying the price. Your soldiers, your ships, your people. Morrison straightened despite his injuries. I am a prisoner of war. I expect to be treated according to galactic law. But before you take me away, I wanted you to know something. The next wave of human ships is not like the ones you have fought so far. We have been building something new. Something specifically designed to fight the Valorian Empire. We call them Spartans. What are they? Doomsday weapons. Ships filled with nuclear warheads, controlled by AI. One-way missions. Each one targets a Valorian world. We have built 1,000 of them. If you continue this war, we will launch them. Not at your ships, at your planets, your colonies, your homeworld. The command center fell silent. You would not, Thulvan whispered. That would be genocide. That would make you monsters. Yes, Morrison agreed. It would. And we will do it anyway if you force us to, because that is what humans are, Admiral. We are the species that split the atom and turned it into a weapon. We are the species that burned our own cities to win wars. We are the species that decided mutual destruction was preferable to defeat. You wanted to know what humans are capable of. This is it. We will become monsters if that is what survival requires. Morrison was led away by guards. Tholvan stood frozen, staring at the displays. 1,000 doomsday weapons, pointed at Valorian worlds. The humans would actually do it. He knew they would. Admiral, his second-in-command, asked quietly. What do we do? Tholvan thought about the chronicles, the ancient warnings, the scouts who had begged the Empire to avoid humans. They had been right about everything. We send a message to the Emperor, Tholvan said slowly. We tell him the truth, all of it, and we pray he listens. But as he drafted the message, Tholvan looked at the star charts, at the Valorian homeworld, shining in the center of Imperial space. He thought about 1,000 human weapons headed toward that world. And for the first time in his life, Grand Admiral Tholvan wondered if the Valorian Empire would survive the war it had started. Emperor Zalthor the Magnificent sat upon his impossible throne and read the report for the third time. The words did not change. The truth remained ugly. Grand Admiral Tholvan's message was clear. The war was unwinnable. Not because the Valorian Empire lacked ships or soldiers, but because the cost of victory was too high. 25,000 ships sent, 13,000 destroyed, thousands more damaged, tens of thousands of soldiers dead. The economic strain was breaking the Empire, food shipments delayed, trade disrupted, allies questioning imperial judgment, and worst of all, the humans still fought. How many human ships remain? The Emperor asked his advisors. The military counselor checked his data tablet. Our best estimate is 73 ships, my Emperor, down from their original 300. We have won every major engagement, and yet we have lost 13,000 vessels. Silence fell over the throne room. No one wanted to state the obvious. The Valorian Empire was winning battles but losing the war. There is another matter, my Emperor, the diplomatic counselor said nervously. The humans have sent messages to every major species in the galaxy. They have shared footage of destroyed human colonies, images of civilian casualties. They are claiming we started an unprovoked war of aggression. We issued a lawful ultimatum. Yes, my Emperor. But the humans are asking why we had the right to demand their territory. They claim they colonized uninhabited systems legally. They say we attacked because they refused to surrender to threats. The Emperor's scales rippled with anger. And the other species, what do they say? Many are sympathetic to the human position. They see a small, young species defending itself against a vast empire. The narrative is not favorable to us. Emperor Zalthor stood abruptly. His advisors flinched. When the Emperor stood in anger, someone usually lost their position. Or their life. Where is Keeper Salmeth? In the archives, my Emperor. Should we summon him? No. I will go to him. The throne room erupted in whispered shock. The Emperor had not left the palace complex in decades. For him to personally visit the archives was unprecedented. 20 minutes later, Emperor Zalthor entered the vast imperial archives. Keeper Salmeth was waiting, unsurprised. The ancient Valorian bowed as much as his aged body allowed. My Emperor, I wondered when you would come. You knew the humans would do this, you warned me. I tried to, yes. Tell me honestly, Keeper, can we win this war? Salmeth gestured to a chair. The Emperor sat. The Keeper settled across from him, two old beings contemplating a disaster. Can you win militarily? Yes. You have more ships, more resources, more soldiers. Eventually you will destroy every human vessel. You will occupy every human world. Salmeth paused. But will you survive the victory? That is the question. Explain. The humans have promised to launch their doomsday weapons if we threaten their homeworld. 1,000 nuclear-armed ships controlled by artificial intelligence targeted at our most important worlds, including Valor Prime. Can our defenses stop them all? Perhaps. Perhaps not. But even if we stop 99%, 10 ships get through. 10 nuclear weapons striking our cities. Millions dead. The Emperor's hands clenched. We could strike Earth first, destroy their homeworld before they launch. Could you? Salmeth asked quietly. The humans have hidden their launch facilities. We do not know where all of them are. And if you attack Earth, the survivors will launch everything they have. Not just at Valor Prime, at every Valorian world. They will accept their own extinction to ensure ours. Madness. Yes, human madness, but effective madness. Salmuth pulled up a hologram. My Emperor, you asked if we can win. The better question is, what do we win? We gain 47 systems that the humans have already rigged to self-destruct. We gain nothing but ash and ruins. We lose 13,000 ships and counting. We lose our reputation. We lose our allies' trust. We create an enemy that will hate us for generations. What exactly have we won? Emperor Zalthor stared at the hologram showing human territory, such a small part of the galaxy. Why had he thought it was worth this cost? Pride, he said finally. I cannot withdraw because of pride. The Empire does not negotiate with those who defy us. Then pride will destroy the Empire. Before the Emperor could respond, alarms blared throughout the palace. Out. Emergency sirens wailed. The Emperor's communication device lit up with urgent messages. What is happening? He demanded. A military advisor's face appeared on screen, pale with fear. My Emperor, you must return to the palace immediately. We have detected a fleet in our home system, inside our defenses. What fleet? How many ships? Human ships, my Emperor. 150 vessels. They appeared at the edge of the system through some kind of stealth jump. Our sensors did not detect them until they dropped their cloaking. 150 ships? We have 5,000 ships defending Valor Prime. Destroy them. My Emperor, they have sent a message. They are requesting to speak with you. They say if we attack, they will launch their doomsday weapons. All of them. At Valor Prime. The Emperor's blood went cold. The humans were here. At his homeworld. With weapons pointed at billions of Valorian civilians. Get me Admiral Tholvan. He is not available, my Emperor. He is still in human territory with the main fleet. Then get me the human commander. Now. Minutes later, a face appeared on the view screen. Admiral Jessica Chen. She looked older than the last time she had been photographed. War had aged her, but her eyes were still sharp, still determined. Emperor Zalthor, she said with a slight nod. Thank you for speaking with me. You dare bring weapons to my homeworld? You threaten my people? This is an act of war. With respect, Emperor, we have been at war for 5 months. A war you started. Chen's voice was calm, professional. And I am not here to threaten your people. I am here to end this war. By holding a weapon to my planet, by making you understand the stakes. Emperor, we have 150 ships here. You have 5,000 defending Valor Prime. You can destroy us. But before we die, we will launch every doomsday weapon we brought. Nuclear warheads, biological weapons, relativistic missiles, everything. Aimed at your cities, your shipyards, your infrastructure. Can you stop all of them? Maybe, but probably not. The Emperor wanted to order an attack, wanted to destroy these arrogant humans who dared to threaten his world. But he saw the truth in Chen's eyes. She was not bluffing. If he attacked, she would launch everything. Millions would die. What do you want? He asked quietly. Peace. Immediate ceasefire. Withdrawal of all Valorian forces from human territory. Reparations for the worlds you destroyed. And a non-aggression treaty lasting 1,000 years. Impossible. The Valorian. Empire does not surrender. This is not surrender, Emperor. This is negotiation. You want us gone from your homeworld? Agree to our terms. We will leave peacefully. The war ends. Both our peoples can start rebuilding. And if I refuse, then we all die today. You, me, and billions of civilians on Valor Prime. Is your pride worth that many lives? The Emperor looked at Keeper Salmuth, who had followed him back to the palace. The ancient keeper nodded slowly. The message was clear. Accept the terms. How did you get here? The Emperor demanded. How did you penetrate our defenses? Chen smiled slightly. Humans are good at finding ways to do impossible things. We studied your defensive network, found the weaknesses, exploited them. It was not easy. We lost many ships getting here, but we made it. You have 73 ships left. You brought 150 here. That means humanity's entire military fleet is here at your homeworld, betting everything on this moment. Yes. We committed everything to this one attack. If you destroy us now, humanity loses its military, but you lose your homeworld. Both our species crippled, or we can both walk away. The throne room was silent. Every advisor, every guard, every observer understood what was happening. The humans had made an insane gamble. They had brought their entire remaining fleet to the enemy capital. They were either brilliant or suicidal. The Emperor suspected they were both. You said you wanted peace, the Emperor said slowly. But you brought doomsday weapons to my world. You threatened my people. That does not sound like peace. We brought weapons because that is the only language you understand, Chen replied. For 5 months we tried to show you that we would not surrender. We fought in every system. We died by the thousands, but you kept coming. So we had to make you understand in terms you could not ignore. We had to threaten what you value most. And what do I value most? Your people. Your home world. Your legacy. Chen leaned forward. Emperor, you started this war because you thought we were weak. Because you thought our small fleet meant we were easy prey. But you forgot something. Humans do not measure strength in ships. We measure it in will. And our will is unbreakable. Your will has cost you thousands of lives. Yes, and it has cost you more. We lost 200 ships. You lost 13,000. We lost dozens of colonies. You lost your reputation. We sacrificed much, but you sacrificed more. Chen's voice hardened. Emperor, this war was a mistake. Admit it, end it. Let both our peoples survive. The Emperor looked at his advisors. All of them avoided his gaze. They knew the truth. The war was lost. Not militarily, but strategically. The Empire could destroy the human fleet here and now, but the cost would be catastrophic. If I agree to your terms, the Emperor said carefully, what guarantee do I have that you will honor them? What prevents you from attacking us again in the future? Nothing, Chen admitted. Just as nothing prevents you from attacking us. Treaties are built on trust, or at least on mutual understanding. You understand now that humans will fight to extinction if threatened. We understand that the Valorian Empire has the power to destroy us if we break the peace. Both of us have learned expensive lessons. Perhaps we can learn from them. Keeper Salmuth stepped forward. My Emperor, if I may speak? The Emperor nodded. Admiral Chen is offering you a way out. A way to end this war without losing more ships or soldiers. Yes, you must withdraw from human territory. Yes, you must pay reparations. But you keep your empire. You keep your people. You keep your homeworld. Is that not worth more than pride? The Emperor sat on his throne, feeling the weight of 12,000 years of imperial history. The Valorian Empire had never retreated, never surrendered, never negotiated as equals with lesser species. But the Valorian Empire had never fought humans before. I want modifications to your terms, the Emperor said finally. I am listening. You demand reparations. I will pay them, but not as punishment. As compensation for damages, frame it as restitution, not tribute. Agreed. You demand a 1,000-year non-aggression treaty. I will sign it. But in exchange, humanity agrees to respect imperial borders. No expansion into systems we have marked for colonization. We will respect your borders if you respect ours. Agreed. And finally, this treaty will not be presented as human victory or Valorian defeat. It will be presented as a mutual peace agreement between equals. Chen was quiet for a moment. Then she nodded. Between equals, yes, we can agree to that. The Emperor stood. Then we have terms. My military command will arrange the details. Your fleet will leave Valor Prime within 24 hours. Our forces will begin withdrawing from human space immediately. Thank you, Emperor Zalthor. You have made the right choice. The transmission ended. The throne room remained silent. Then, slowly, advisors began to move. To implement the peace agreement. To end the war. The Emperor sat back down heavily. Keeper Salmuth approached and bowed. You were right, Keeper. About all of it. I wish I had been wrong, my Emperor. What happens now? Now we rebuild. We learn. We remember why the ancient scouts told us to avoid humans, and we make sure future emperors read those warnings. 1 year later, Admiral Chen stood on the observation deck of a human space station. Earth floated below, blue and green and beautiful. The war was over. The treaties signed. Valorian forces had withdrawn. Reparations had been paid. Humanity had survived. A door opened behind her. Keeper Salmuth entered, moving slowly on his hover platform. Chen turned and smiled. "Keeper, welcome to human space. I did not expect to see you again. I wanted to thank you, Admiral, for showing mercy." "Mercy? You could have destroyed Valor Prime. Your weapons were armed. Your ships were in position. You could have killed billions and crippled the Empire, but you did not." Chen looked back at Earth. "We are not monsters, Keeper. We fight like monsters when we must, but we are still human, still capable of mercy, still capable of choosing life over death. The Emperor does not understand that. He thinks you spared us out of weakness. Let him think what he wants. I know the truth. We spared Valor Prime because destroying it would have made us the very thing we were fighting against. We would have become the aggressors, the butchers, the empire that slaughters billions for political gain." Salmuth moved closer to the window. "You humans are strange, capable of such violence, but also such restraint. That is what makes us human. We can be both. The question is always which one we choose to be." They stood together in silence, looking at Earth, the planet that had birthed humanity, the Class 12 death world that had forged the most dangerous species in the galaxy. "Will there be more wars?" Salmuth asked. "Probably. Humans will always find reasons to fight, but not with the Valorian Empire. Not for 1,000 years at least. We have both learned our lesson." "What lesson is that?" Chen smiled. "You learned why you should never provoke a death world species. And we learned that surviving a war is not the same as winning it. Both lessons cost us dearly." Salmuth prepared to leave. At the door he paused. "Admiral, there is one thing I must know. That message you sent me during the first battle. You tried. What did it mean? You tried to warn the Emperor. You tried to prevent the war. You tried to make him understand what humans were. You failed, but you tried. I wanted you to know that I saw your efforts, that I respected them." The old Keeper's scales rippled with emotion. "Thank you, Admiral, for seeing, for understanding, and for sparing my people when you had every right to destroy them." After he left, Chen remained at the window. Ships moved in orbit, human and Valorian side by side now, trading, talking, learning to coexist. Below, on Earth, children played in parks. Soldiers returned to their families. Cities rebuilt. Life continued. Humanity had gone to war with an empire that controlled 800 star systems. And humanity had survived, not through superior numbers or better technology, but through sheer refusal to surrender, through willingness to sacrifice everything rather than submit. The galaxy had learned a new truth. Humans were dangerous, but they were also capable of mercy, of restraint, of choosing peace when vengeance would have been easier. In the years that followed, the story of the human-Valorian war spread across the galaxy. It became legend, a warning and a lesson, the tale of the small species that fought an empire and made them respect human space. The phrase "do not wake the humans" entered galactic common language, a reminder that some species, no matter how small or young, should never be underestimated. And in the Imperial Archives on Valor Prime, Keeper Salmuth added a new entry to the Death World Chronicles. It read, "Updated assessment, species human, classification apex predator, threat level, extinction class, however, also capable of mercy, honor, and peace. Recommendation, maintain diplomatic relations. Respect territorial boundaries. Never provoke, but if cooperation is offered, accept it. Humans make terrifying enemies but valuable allies. The choice of which they become is ours to make." 50 years passed. The Valorian Empire prospered. Human space expanded peacefully. The treaty held, and sometimes on quiet nights, old soldiers from both sides would meet in neutral stations. They would share drinks and stories. They would remember fallen friends. They would look at the stars and feel grateful to be alive, because both sides had learned the same lesson. War is easy to start. Peace is hard to maintain, but peace is always worth fighting for. And when younger species asked about the war, the old soldiers would shake their heads and say the same thing, Valorian and human alike. We learned why myths are feared, and we learned why mercy matters more than victory. The galaxy listened and remembered.